Should we? Okay, thanks.
I'll wait until the light's on.
It's good. He might not turn the lights on. We're recording. That's just a switch they flip, just to let us know.
Okay.
He already gave us a thumbs up.
I'd like to call the City of Monona Planning Commission meeting together this evening, Monday, April 24th, 2023.
Chair Moore,
Here.
Alder DePula,
Here.
Ms. Follett,
Here.
Ms. Fox,
Here.
Mr. Homburg,
Here.
Mr. Stein,
Here.
Mr. Conrad.
Here.
Mr. Grice is excused.
Thank you. Before we move to the minutes, I would just, with this roll call, like to thank Alder Holmquist, who previously served on this committee, and I thank him for his service on the committee, and I know he'll be serving the city in many other ways, but I just want to thank him for his service, and I want to welcome back now Alder Patrick DePula, who has always obviously had an interest in the work of this committee and this commission, and so we're welcome to have him aboard. So with that, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from March 27, 2023.
Move approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any changes, corrections? Good? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. All of these are pretty much relatively equal in duration, or for us, not knowing, of course, what the discussion is going to be, but generally speaking, we don't earn any gigantic things this evening. So with that, we'll stick with the same order that as proposed in the agenda. Are there any appearances this evening? Is there anybody? There's no one here in the room. Is there anybody on Zoom who is not here to speak on a particular item on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close the appeared section and go to, there is no unfinished business, so we'll move right to new business number 7A, public hearing on the request by Rochosa del Viejo for approval of new signage at 5415B Monona Drive, case number S006-2023. So with that, we'll open it up for whomever is here to speak on behalf of this request to speak first as part of the public hearing. Chris?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Welcome. If you could introduce yourself and then go ahead and proceed with anything you'd like to share about this request.
Yes, I'm Chris Wong. I am a sign contractor of Athena Design Group. We're making a sign for La Chosa del Viejo, and it's going to be a Chinese restaurant, going to be open. It used to be a Chinese restaurant, but now it's just replaced by a new owner, and they would like to have a new name. And we're making a sign that's similar to the existing sign of the shopping mall. It will have a gray, similar color to the awning background, plus they're all LED letters, and low voltage, and all channel levels, and with the logo in front, and it connects to existing electrical, and that is going to be a beautiful sign.
Okay. Thank you. Could we let the control room know that we might need to turn the volume up? Yes.
Up a little?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Unless there's anyone else here to speak on this particular request, we will close the public hearing and move to number 7B, consideration of action on the request by La Choza del Viejo for approval of a new signage at 5450B Monona Drive, case number S-006-2023.
Thank you. So the request here this evening is for a new wall sign at 5415B Monona Drive. It's just under 22 square feet, LED illuminated channel letters, and it's facing east towards Monona Drive. The property is zoned as part of the retail business district, and it is also along the Monona Drive corridor and subject to those urban design guidelines. Each building within the RB district is allowed one wall sign for each business, and within that they're allowed 1 square foot per linear foot of building facade, and the applicant's frontage is approximately 22 feet, and they're coming in just under 22 square feet as in their proposed sign. It would also be a reduction versus the existing sign from the former tenant, which was right around 30 square feet. The proposed sign appears appropriate and consistent with the other channel letter signs at this multi-tenant building, and staff recommends approval with the 2 conditions as listed in the staff report. Thanks.
Thank you, Doug. We'll now move across the table as per usual. Chris Holmberg, would you like to start?
Sure. I just have one question for the applicant. The background, the board that you're mounting everything on, that is painted the same color as the facade on the building?
Yes, well, we're trying the best to achieve that similar color. Usually, we don't need to add a backing to it, but on this particular sign, because it has a lot of smaller letters, it's got a very long name. So instead of having a raceway, we will have a whole background as a raceway, but it will be similar color to the awning.
Well, if it's not the same color, then we'd have to consider it part of the sign. So we would need to see that matched to the facade. I understand you want to put it on because it's the sloped metal and it's got the corrugations, but right now your sign's calculated just to meet the limit based on only the sign itself, the logo. And don't get me wrong on picking on it. I think it's an upgrade. I think the sign is an upgrade to the one that's there. But we wouldn't want to see that background piece match the color as best you can to the facade that it's mounted on.
Yes, we will try to match the best we can, and the background is just a slightly, maybe an inch or around bigger than the lettering, so we'll not add much to the square footage. I think it would be like really similar to the existing square footage. We will try to match the best we can to the background to blend in.
Right, just so it doesn't, yes. Okay, thank you. Other than that, like I said, I think the sign's an upgrade from what's there right now.
Okay, thank you. Corey?
I think it looks great. I don't have any questions.
Great. Rob?
I have no additional comments. Looks good.
I have no questions or issues.
Susan?
No questions. I think it looks great also. I think it's great.
It's a good looking sign.
Okay.
I like the sign. Yep.
So, okay. Great. Do I have a
Thank
motion?
you.
I'll move approval with conditions as written by staff.
Okay.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second. Second.
A second. Chris?
Could I suggest amendment and we add a condition 3 that the match the mounting board as best as possible to the existing background as far as color. Match the color of the board is mounted on as best possible to the background.
Sure.
Okay. We have an amendment to the motion. And I'm assuming do we have a second on that amendment?
Second.
Okay, great. We have a second. All right. So, unless there's any other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries.
Okay, did we just vote on the amendment or the motion?
All right. Well, actually, I was thinking it was more the motion because we don't typically.
Because it was a friendly
It was a
amendment.
friendly
If
amendment.
it's taken as a friendly amendment,
Right.
then it can be part of the motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
We move to 7C, public hearing on the request by Senex, represented by Madison Mayor Architects, for approval of an updated monument sign at 925 East Broadway, case number S-007-2023. Who is here for the public hearing portion of this sign request? Jason? Jason, are you here for the Senex request? Sound like he's,
Is he on mute? No, can't see him.
no, he's not on mute. Maybe send him chat. Jason Hughes, are you here for the Senex request?
Should we take the next one out of order?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and we'll move down instead to number 7E, which is public hearing on the request by Bernard Inc., represented by Electrify America, on the request for consideration of a zoning permit for installation of electric vehicle charging equipment in the existing parking lot at 6401 Cops Ave, case number 2-009-2023. With that, who is here from Alicia or Christopher? If you're here
Hey,
representing.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead,
we can
introduce
do that
yourself,
one.
please, and go ahead and share whatever you'd like to about this request.
Sure, my name is Chris Arroyo. I'm working with Alicia Woods, Menards, and Electrify America on a proposal to install 6 electrical vehicle charging stations in the Menards parking lot. These will be 360 kilowatt charging stations, which will offer the super fast, level 3 charging. The equipment, the supporting equipment will consist of a transformer, switchgear, and power units connected to the chargers. That supporting equipment will be held within an equipment enclosure surrounded by an 8-foot Trex fence. All of the equipment but for the transformer will be within that enclosure. Due to clearance requirements, the utility company is not allowing us to place the transformer within that enclosure. This will result in a net loss of 2 stalls in the Menard parking lot. And this will be Electrify America's 3rd cycle. There's a huge Minnesota presence. We have permitted sites in Golden Valley, Eagan, Edina, Pine City, Maple Grove, Alexandria, and Albertville in the last 18 months. So this is a huge focus for EA. So any questions, please?
Great. Alicia, would you like to say anything before we close the public hearing section?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That being the case, we'll close the public hearing section and move to item number 7F, pre-hearing conference on request by Menard Inc., represented by Electrify America, on the request for consideration of a zoning permit for installation of electric vehicle charging equipment in the existing parking lot at 6401 Cops Avenue, case number 2-009-202.
Thank you. So as mentioned, the request here is for 6 level 3 electric vehicle charging stations and associated equipment in the parking lot of the Menards store at 6401 Cops Ave. The property is zoned in the Community Design District, CDD, and a zoning permit is required due to the new construction that's taking place, and the Plan Commission does review those elements. The comprehensive plan lists this as commercial use in both the existing and the future land use maps, and the proposed construction aligns with both the zoning and the comprehensive plan for the site. The installation is proposed at the northeast corner of the site, in between the driveway entrances off of both Cops Ave and Femrite, and appears to be, despite the height of the fence, appears to be set back far enough from the intersection to alleviate any concerns of the vision triangle. And I did hear from the Public Works Director today that he was comfortable with that, but it's recommended that the applicant confirm that before formal consideration. As far as the parking, the 6 stalls 6 electric vehicle charging stalls would replace 8 existing stalls at the site. Given the larger dimensions and the need for the staging area for the equipment, the 5 of the stalls are proposed to be 10 feet, as well as a 6th that would be 11, with an additional 5-foot aisle as well. The net loss of 2 stalls should not be an issue, given the size of the site and the location of this far from the entrance of the building itself. There are bollards that are included in front of the equipment as well as the chargers, and the Commission may choose to discuss if additional curb stops may be needed in front of the stall to address any potential damage in addition to those. Lighting, there is a new 30-foot light pole that is proposed along Cops Ave, and the spec sheet does list that the contractor is to match the existing poles on site. Full specifications were not listed, but that may be something the Commission chooses to discuss this evening. The plans do propose the relocation of 1 tree within the project area, moving it further north to align with an existing tree on the northern edge of the site, which would allow for the equipment enclosure. The city's ordinance does require that mechanical equipment be screened from view, with materials and landscaping complementary and harmonious to the site, and the Commission may choose to discuss if any additional screening would be appropriate in addition to the 8-foot fence, or additional landscaping may be desired. The fence being 8 feet is a little departure from city norm. Typically, fencing does not exceed 6 feet in height and does not exceed 42 inches in the street yard without Plan Commission review. Looking at the specifications, the equipment within that enclosure does max out at 7.5 feet in height, so the 8-foot fence would screen that, and again, may just be a point of discussion for this pre-hearing. Plans were shared with city staff, and there was some feedback both from the Public Works Director today, but also from the city's building inspector just regarding the specifications and the codes that are being followed. So just something to recommend ahead of the formal consideration. That's it from me. Thanks.
With that, I'll start down at the other end. Brendan, do you want to start?
Yeah. You're putting in a 2,000 amp switchboard. Looks like your full ampacity is 1,400 amps. Is there the potential that you might expand beyond just 6 stalls in future?
There is potential. The Electrify America has done that. That would all be under, we would anticipate that would be separately permitted. We'd come back to the Planning Commission. But over the first 2 cycles, my experience with Electrify America, that when there are sites that get a lot of traffic, they expand, or there's been sites where they add a battery energy storage system to increase the efficiency of the charge and the savings. But yeah, we're operating on the assumption that any expansion and any additional would be separately permitted and require us to appear before the Commission again.
Would you give any consideration to prepping the rough-in while you're mobilized this initial time? So potentially future use stalls that you don't do the rest of the improvement to, but you've at least done the rough-in for?
I've seen, like, I would have to reference the plans real quick. I think in some cases, will for the battery energy storage system, they will stub up for the conduit, so that way we don't have to trench when we come back.
Yeah.
But aside from that, if we were to expand stalls, we probably anyway we'd have to dig at some point.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I don't have any other questions.
No, I don't have any questions.
I think it's a great idea. I'm glad to see you doing this. I guess the one question would be to ascertain that for sure you're going to match the lighting with the existing lighting that's there, and that could be.
We already have this. We already have the specs for that light, and we can provide it. With our formal zoning application. That's a Menard spec, and we intend to match it.
Okay. And as far as the height of the fencing, I think it makes sense, and I think as long as we designate the finding of fact that it needs to be that high to cover the power units, that makes sense to me. I guess I probably would prefer to see a little more landscaping along that whole area, just because it'll look a little different than a parking lot. I was thinking initially just around where the fence is, something kind of in front of that to soften that, but maybe even along that whole area. Otherwise, no further comments. I think it's great. Appreciate your doing it.
Thank you.
I have a question which relates to, you had referenced the fact that these units were going to be high speed. Just for public record, can you give us a sense of how long it would take to charge your average vehicle, if you will?
Yeah, sure. So level 3 charging or DC fast charging is 400 volts to 900 volts. It's the fastest type available. You can charge at a rate from 3 to 20 miles of range a minute. Unlike level 1 and 2 charging that uses alternating current, level 3 charging uses direct current, DC. So you can get an 80% charge in 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the electric vehicle.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Chris?
I'm super happy to see this, not only because I drive an electric vehicle, but I feel like I go to Menards at least once a day. I'm also really happy that you put the site at the far corner of the lot so that nobody in their right mind would want to park there unless they're charging.
Absolutely.
You're the first applicant I've seen that has ever done that here. If everyone else wants to put them, right near the building where the electricity usually is. I mean, I get it.
Well, in this, if I could just, we do intend to get a new service at this location, so we don't have to get on the house electricity. And also, there are several things that impact Menards' decision to put it where they do. In the back, we're trying to. The power units have to be close to the dispensers in order to operate that super high level charging. So if we were to bring it closer, we'd have to also make room for those power units, which would just take up more stalls. So that's something to consider. And also, as someone, I also drive an electric car, and it's not. It can take some time. So queues do develop where there'll be a car waiting for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. So if you put that in the front and center of the store and you have cars waiting around, it just kind of logistically, not good for the flow of traffic.
Yeah,
so putting it out on the side kind of saves us that effort.
No, it seems like a win-win idea there. I didn't have a chance to Google Electrify America. I had not heard of them until I read this. I presume you're very similar to the company ChargePoint. I mean, do you have like an app or something?
There is an app. Yep, Electrify America. There's an app. You pay whatever it is, $4.99 a month, and you get a discount on the charging. Electrify America. I have a Ford, and it came. I think Electrify America was born from the Volkswagen emissions issue that happened maybe 5-6 years ago, where they had to pay $2 billion in fines and build X amount of EV infrastructure as part of their agreement. So they created this new company, Electrify America. But now, fast forward a couple of years, I purchased a Ford, and that came with free X amount of kilowatts of Electrify America charging. They're typically located in Targets, Walmarts, Bonds, different grocery stores. So anywhere where people can charge and kind of then go about their tasks while they wait 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
Okay. Do you happen to know, like, if someone just wants to do this once, can they? Or do you have to, subscribe? Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah. You could just do it with a credit card,
Just for one charge. You don't have to sign up for $5 a month or something.
That gives you
That's right. You can do that. I mean, there's going to be some, they're going to get you one way or the other. So you might have to pay like some, fee that you wouldn't have to pay if you were a member, but you can do it, a one-time charge. I've done it before myself.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I have no other questions other than my comments to say I'm really happy about this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Couple of things. I don't see the need for curb stops in this location since there's a curb head and bollards. I agree that some tall ornamental grasses around the 8-foot fence would help to kind of bring the scale of that fence down a little bit and improve aesthetics. I think the exception for the taller fence is appropriate in this situation. The relocated tree that's shown on the plan, I think that should go on a different location. The plans indicate that it should go 6 feet from the existing tree, which is, it just doesn't make sense. That's way too close. So I think you should find a different location, maybe along Cops Avenue. And then I had one clarifying question with the installation of the individual plug-in units. It looks like those go, the pad that those sit on, go right up to the face of curb. The way it's drawn, it looks like that curb is going to be either cut or removed, that curb head. Can you clarify how that's actually installed? Am I making sense?
Say over one more time, please. When somebody pull up the drawings.
The concrete pad that the individual plug-in units sit on top of, those go in line with the existing curb. And the way it looks is if the curb head is going to be cut, or are you replacing a section of curb and gutter there?
I would assume, we're cutting into that curb, correct.
Okay, and leaving the existing gutter pan?
I can find out for you. I don't want to speak on something I don't know, but.
Okay, it's just a clarifying question. I think it could work either way. It's just good to understand.
I'll make a note of that. Yeah. The gutter pan.
But that was all my comments, questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cory?
I feel like I should know the answer to this now, but I don't. How wide is the typical parking stall? 9 feet? Okay. I don't know what the trend in electric vehicles is necessarily, but I assume, I've heard that there are companies that are making bigger vehicles, so I just want, and knowing that this is Menards, if there's people that are coming to Menards that maybe have a bigger vehicle, maybe they're transitioning to an electric vehicle, 5 years down the road, just making sure that these are going to be wide enough for that, but it looks like they will be with 10 and 11 inches, or feet wide, so that's good. And that was really my biggest question, and because I agreed, you had a comment in here about whether there should be screening on the roadway, but I don't think that's necessary just because it's not facing residential, it's facing the other parking lot. If you wanted to put some grass in, behind the charging, if you're putting some grass around the enclosure, that might look nice, but I don't think that's a requirement. But I do agree that putting some additional landscaping around the fence would be appropriate.
Okay, question, is this for only Menards, or is this for anybody that drives by?
For anybody that drives by.
That's what I thought. So we just have to be clear, we're taking out 8 stalls, not 2. Because I assume the general public will come here and we say we're only losing 2 stalls, we're losing 8 stalls. So just to be clear on that, because I assumed it would be for the general public. What Rob was talking about is your detail shows just that curb head coming off to be able to put your bollards in. But I'm pretty sure you're going to take the whole curb and gutter out because the bollards are going to probably take a 24-inch base, 18-inch base, so you're going to have to auger down through there anyway. So I think it's just touching up that detail to show what you're really going to do. I completely agree with the comments already that there needs to be a better landscaping around that fence. It's a partial fence, you can see through it also. So I think we need to really think about the landscaping plan a little more and how you're going to do that. And then on your other end where you're extending, there's no dimension, but let's say 3 feet to the south, there's an existing tree there that'll need to be replaced also. You'll be pretty close to it, and when I looked at it, I'm pretty sure that tree's dead right now. In fact, is there anybody from Menards on this call, or just you?
Just me.
Okay. If you get a chance, you should let them know their maintenance people are girdling all their trees. They're all in pretty bad shape the way they're beating them up with a lawnmower. But that one that you're going to expand into is a really small tree, so I think it just gets replaced somewhere. And just take a look at your landscape plan, how you're going to do that. And then also grade is an issue here, where I assume you're going to have this pad for everything in level with the top of curb. probably?
Which pad?
The pad for your equipment that's fenced in. I imagine that equipment pad for what's fenced in is going to join the curb there. Or I guess, take a look at your details, because there's 2 foot of grade between that and the property line, at least according to the topo, and standing out there, it looks like 2 feet of grade, and maybe even more on the other end. So are you going to put a little retaining wall in, or how are you going to handle that grade change? So I guess when you come back, it'd be nice to have some grade information, see what you're going to do about that. And also, it'd be nice to have some dimensions to the property line so we can see what we're playing with, property line or that sidewalk. They're both out there. And the one tree that you're saving, you get really close to that too, the one that says existing tree right by your equipment enclosure. And you can see we actually, when we put the sidewalk in, or had Menards do it, we had them go around that tree to just try to stay out of that root zone. So again, it'd be nice to know exactly how close you're going to be to that tree and if it's going to survive or if that needs to be replaced or moved around. So most of what I'm talking about is a more refined and more comprehensive landscape plan, and then certainly the grades, what's going to happen there. I think, to parrot everyone else, I think it's great that you're putting this in. I think it's an excellent location when people know it's there. I can see people on long trips, you're so close to the belt line, just swinging through there for a quick fill-up. So I applaud you, and I think everybody here is anxious to see it happen.
Thank you.
Anything else?
As you look at the landscape plan, I would encourage you to look at natives for the grasses, as well as any trees that might be replaced. Grasses, you could look at switchgrass is a good one, upright, fairly tall.
Anything else to hear? Yeah,
No,
Chris?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Anything else in the pre-hearing? I would just add my 2 cents that I completely concur with the rest of the commission. I very much appreciate Menards taking this step, and Electrify coming in. It'll be a tremendous asset to not only their shoppers, and shoppers that may want to come twice a day as opposed to just once a day. As you may know, Monona has a commitment to sustainability, and I think this would be a great addition. So with that, I'm going to. Do you have anything else that you would like from us to hear from us this evening in terms of the direction that you need to go?
Yeah, I mean, we were just looking to kind of identify the process on what kind of application we need. Do we need a conditional use permit? Can we just apply directly to plan check? Just some kind of concrete process for moving forward. And, we intend to get permits and build, we have like a 40, 50-day timeline. So as soon as we can do it, we'll do it. And I just want to thank everybody for taking the time.
And I'll connect with you both tomorrow. This is Doug Plowman. I'll connect with you and kind of walk you through next steps and where we go from here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I believe that leads us back to number 7C. And Jason, welcome. This is your opportunity, 7C's public hearing on the request by Senex, represented by Madison Mayor Architects, for approval of an updated monument sign at 925 East Broadway, case number S-007-2023. Welcome, Jason. Go ahead, if you would, and introduce yourself and provide us with any background information you'd like during the public hearing portion.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Hughes Reynolds Group, owner 925 East Broadway. We operate the Senex gas 24-hour pump there, and we're really just looking to update our existing sign to LED and We're really not changing anything other than that in the sign. We also have a flag drawn on there, which Cenex is asking us to put a flag with the Cenex flag and the American flag on there. I'm not sure if that's part of the submittal or not, but it is on our site plan as you can see it. I think Doug added the specs on there. It's self-dimming at night, aluminum cabinet, construction, pretty basic application. I guess we're just changing what's there and trying to bring it up to date. And that's about all we're trying to accomplish there.
Okay. Thank you. Close the public hearing section and move to consideration of action number 7D on the request by Cenex, represented by Madison Mayer Architects, for the approval of an updated monument sign at 925 East Broadway, case number S-007-2023. Doug?
Thank you. So yes, Cenex is looking to come through for an updated monument sign as well as a new flagpole at 925 East Broadway. The flag sign can be reviewed administratively, so although it's included in the plans, that's something that city staff will work with the applicant on. So the monument fuel price sign includes the Cenex and pay at the pump with digital fuel price displays for both unleaded and diesel fuel, and it would be just under 46 square feet, LED illuminated aluminum cabinet with polycarbonate faces, and that will be facing both East and West Broadway along East Broadway. The property is zoned Community Design District, CDD, and buildings in that district are allowed one monument sign per site, and the signs are allowed to be a total of 60 square feet in area, maximum of 5 feet in height, and 15 feet from the street curb face. The existing monument sign with which this will be refaced is 4 feet tall and located approximately 30 feet from the curb face and around 40.5 square feet. So this would be an increase of about 5 square feet in size, about half a foot in height, but still, that 30 foot away from the curb and still falling within city standards for the monument sign. One thing of note is it does typically require that they be integrated with site landscaping, and there's pretty minimal there right now, so just a point to mention. And as far as fuel price signs, there is a separate section for that. That's, of course, regulated by Wisconsin state statutes, but also is referenced within the city sign code, and again requires that the fuel price signs be integrated into the design of a permitted sign. They're allowed changeable copy, but prices must remain in effect for 24 hours. And there's no specification in the sign code for an electronic fuel pricing as part of the sign. Moving to the electronic message signs, the standards for those, typically with the new code, they're reserved for institutional information signs, which must be monument signs, and there are a few standards there as it relates to proximity to single and two family districts, as well as the amount of the sign that may be of that sort of electronic message. The applicant did share some specs, as mentioned, that the light automatically dims at night, has 64 levels of dimming, all the way down to 6% for nighttime hours. The monument sign, as proposed with the fuel pricing, would be just under 8 square feet and around 17% of the sign's total area. And just for reference, city staff did reference a few of the other gas stations in the city. 4 of the 5 other stations have electronic fuel price signs that were approved by the commission prior to the sign code update, and they're each listed there. So the Commission may choose to discuss the appropriateness of the proposal and if an exception may be considered for the electronic message sign. If so, a recommended approval with the finding of facts and conditions is included in the staff report. Thanks.
Thank you, Doug. Didn't we just go through whether or not an LED could be dimmed or not at a recent meeting? Just saying.
No comment.
Yeah, Chris Homburg, would you like to start us off?
Sure. I think it's a great upgrade. We've done it with all the other signs. It makes a lot of sense to make it easier so you can change it from the office instead of tramping out in the snow and cold and ice and trying to change those letters again. That doesn't make any sense. That's the reason we've always allowed the exception. One recommendation I'd have, Doug, to your potential conditions of approval is you already have it in there on condition 4, but I'd add it to the finding of fact that after what you've said for the fuel prices, and no messages other than fuel prices are changeable. Just so that we're clear, and that's part of our finding of fact. It's what you have there, but also that we're not allowing anything other than fuel prices to make it comprehensive on that, and a little tougher for somebody to try to skate around. For the applicant, you do need to do something in your landscape, and you can see why you haven't done a lot, the sign's so low to the ground. I can't speak for the rest of the commission, but as I speak first, you'll find out. But for me, I love it when applicants just plant a bunch of annuals, flowering annuals around the base of a sign. It's a really nice look in the summertime, and it stays below the sign, but I'm sure there'll be other opinions. But for me, that could be the landscape plan. And then the last thing I want to say is, when you see your sign guy, have them level it up. It's tipping quite a bit towards Broadway. It's below level. That's not a good look. I bet it's 4 to 6 inches down on the Broadway side from the other side, and I think you're going to want it to look good. So just mention that to your sign guy. My guess is that's really, really bad soils around there, so when they installed it initially, there must be a pocket of something under that, or it'd be the south leg.
I would add that that's the grade. It's not the actual sign. I think you're looking at the grade. I don't know if it's an optical illusion, but that sign's not tipping towards Broadway 4 to 6 inches. I think the grade starts up higher and it comes back down. I think is what.
The grade.
I would take a level there tomorrow, because if it is 4 to 6 inches out, we're basically using the existing infrastructure there. So obviously, yeah, we would have to fix that up if that is the case. Hopefully it's not, but I will check on that.
I'm kind of anal. The rest of the commission will mention that. And I put a torpedo level on it, and a torpedo level at 6 inches long was off a 1/4 inch. So that's a 1/2 inch per foot that it's off, give or take. You can see it as soon as you drive over there.
I think you said it was 4 to 6 inches off. I'm like,
yeah,
that would be very noticeable.
Well, it's be 1 inch off and 1 feet. How wide is that sign? It'd be 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, 1/2 inch and a foot.
Well, yeah, 12 feet.
12 feet, then it's probably going to be around 6 inches, 5, 6 inches off. You take a look at it. I understand the grade, but it's off. That's all I got for landscaping.
Okay, thank you. Corey?
I have nothing additional to add.
Rob?
I have another comment. I think it looks good.
I'm good.
This is good. Susan?
Nothing to add, looks good.
All good?
I agree with Chris about the landscaping suggestion. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this sign will be even closer to the ground than the existing sign, so I don't know what other vegetation would be an option.
Right. Okay. With that, do we have a motion?
Move approval and to the end of the finding of fact, add in no messages other than fuel prices are changeable. And with conditions as recommended by staff.
Second?
Do I have?
I'll second.
Susan?
So the findings of facts include illuminated lighting, landscaping plan. Do we, Chris, did you want to make an amendment, or as it relates to leveling? As a finding of fact?
Do you think it's appropriate? It should be leveled up.
No.
Then just be another condition. Then I ask that we add condition 5 that the sign be leveled up.
Okay.
Does the second agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, we have an agreement on that, so any other discussion?
Yeah, the only other thing I guess that we could add, just to keep it tighter under the finding of fact, is the exception for the electronic message sign to display fuel prices is warranted due to the routine need to update fuel prices and the state law requiring they be displayed, obviously displayed, or whatever adjective you want to use. That'd be an adverb, wouldn't it? I'm sorry, teacher.
Okay.
But I mean, we're required to allow them to
Right.
display fuel prices.
Right,
Okay.
got it. Okay, so I have a motion and I have a second on the floor as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I just want to say again, this is a nice upgrade to the sign. It will be
Yeah.
better looking sign.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Susan.
All right, thank you.
With that, we will go to reports from staff and commission members.
Thank you. The economic development update, the CEA tomorrow will be discussing the Walter Wayne project up on Monona Drive. So expecting we'll have a lot more direction from there. At this point, they're not planning to return to Plan Commission until they have a clearer path from CDA. So
Walter Wayne, the one on St. Teresa?
yes, the vacant parcel, yes.
Because they also came for a different one at one time.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, 5105 Monona Drive, yeah, next to the food fight offices. So that will be discussed at CDA tomorrow night. As far as the upcoming Plan Commission items, I expect the EV charging, if they can turn those materials around. I know they're on a tight timeline. Also expecting the Southtown signage, the CSP sort of amendments for the three buildings, or for the three tenants, sorry. The Five Below, Michael's, and then the future third tenant. So I have some materials there that they'll both most likely be coming before us on May 8th. And then the school is also looking to return with their landscaping plan, the MG21. The students are working on that landscaping plan as we speak. So I've given them some grace there to get the materials in, but looking forward to working with them on that.
Yeah, their students are doing it?
Yes. Yeah.
Rob might disagree, but I think it's a great training opportunity for them.
Tear them apart. Welcome to the real world.
Yeah, you better give me a heads up there.
And then I just wanted to flag for sustainability efforts. I did make contact. It had been requested previously to showcase some of the solar panels that Dave Jones had installed. That was included in the most recent newsletter that went out from the city. I can certainly forward a copy to anybody that's not subscribed. It's right at the bottom, so you got to keep scrolling the whole way. But I got some really good information from them. This is two buildings, 2225 and 2251 Kilgist. They have over 450 modules on the roof over there, some really good photos included as well. And between the buildings, it'll be just over 70% and over 95% offset of the building's consumption. So,
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I had also mentioned it to Teresa, and I believe that the Sustainability Committee is actually putting together a whole list, because there's been, Dave Jones that's certainly a huge one, but there's been a lot more solar, both residential and commercial, since.
And recognize a private business that's put in that big of an investment to it.
That's right.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So, yeah.
I was just, as we were, looking at the Electrify America application tonight, too, or the pre-hearing, I was thinking about all the different plans that we've seen come through where they're roughing in. So it's not there yet, but it's roughed in. I don't know if that would be something that the committee would be interested in knowing about as well.
Yeah, what I suggested to the Sustainability Committee is that they look at what's been done and also look at the roughing in and sort of, and that the first place to go with that would be with the building inspector, because they're the ones that approve any kind of building permits. But I know that they're looking to do a better job capturing the data across the city in terms of what the accomplishments that we've had there. Yeah, and I would also say in that regard, another big step is through the recent. I think it was the Inflation Reduction Act. Some funds came into the state, obviously related to renewable initiatives, and the city's applied for a grant to transition all of our streetlights within the city, not on Broadway and Monona Drive, because that's a bit of a more challenging situation, but within the city to LED. So if we were to get that grant, we would move at a faster rate than we're currently planning. We're planning to have all that done by 2025, but if we were to get the grant, that would speed up the timetable considerably. And working with MGE, yeah.
Did we ever get any results? I know we did a test area somewhere on Monona Drive with our streetlights to put in LED and see how it worked and how we liked it.
Right.
Remember, we looked at them. What did we ever do after we looked at them and said the light's fine?
That's a good question, and we can ask Brad about that. Right. Because I know when I was on the Sustainability Committee, there was some confusion for a while in terms of the fact that one of the ways in which, for this commission, one of the ways in which Monona Drive is different than the rest of the city is that we actually own the lights on Monona Drive because they're special lights. Where we don't own, the utility poles throughout the rest of the city. And Broadway is different because we don't have complete control over Broadway. It's a shared drive.
Don't we own those poles? We put a special design in on those poles also.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, some progress there on both fronts, and we never know. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of applicants, but we're encouraged by what we've heard. I'll just leave it at that, and wanted you to know. Anything on? Do you have anything on DEI?
Nothing from this.
Nothing on DEI. Okay. Upcoming meetings.
Yes, definitely planning for the May 8th, as long as we have a robust agenda. Most likely, May 22nd would be canceled. I will actually be out, so unless there's a pressing sort of couple smaller items that I may be able to have the assistant planner assist with or help with, we most likely would be looking to cancel that meeting.
Okay. Any requests for information?
I was just curious about a couple of items that had come before us. Is there a timeline on the tenants in Southtown? And then also there was that bus proposal, and they were waiting to hear the results of whether they got the contract. I was just wondering if you had any updates on those.
I don't have a specific timeline for the tenants. I know with sort of progressing here with the signage is a good step, certainly, for them looking at the CSP, but I don't believe they've yet pulled permits to do the facade work or anything like that, which I think would definitely be the leading indicator of that. And then I do know that the proposal, the bus proposal, they were unsuccessful in that bid, so I don't have any updates at the moment on where that goes from there, but certainly I think that proposal at the moment is on hold.
Okay. Any other requests for information? Should also let this body know that I know that there was a request by the commission previously for data as it relates to housing, kind of a picture snapshot, if you will, of where we've been, what we've done so far in housing, and I just wanted you to know that it's something that we have met on, and that Thor and Doug have been meeting on.
I have some for you for after the meeting. I talked to Mary about it too. Well, I had something else happening where I found out where the government feels a very good source is, so I went to that source and got some data.
Okay, great. Well, that might be helpful. What the commission may not know is there was an update to the strategic housing plan done in 2016 as part of the university project. So we had the original strategic housing plan and an update, and then we obviously have the census and other materials, as Doug's already indicated. So we did mean it, like as I said, and these guys are working on it and haven't forgotten about it. And we should have that for the commission.
It's not an agenda item, so it's probably not okay to talk about right now as far as what this is.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Yep. Okay. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move adjournment.
Second.
Rob, say the thing. We have a second. We have a move. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
No, I would have gone under.